So hi and welcome to the first lecture on school social work, which focuses on the role of the school social worker and looking a little bit at context. So first I just want to start with having you reflect on and think about the educational context, right? So thinking about what is the purpose of schools, what has been the purpose of schools in the past historically, and what do you understand as the purpose of schools now? Are they intended to be places of safety and places that are inclusive? Also thinking about how all of these shifts in social welfare have left serious demands on schools, right? What happens when there's a weak safety net and you have high levels of children in poverty, and how are the schools expected to fill in that gap? Also in terms of thinking about the amount of time that kids spend in schools. So this is a very key place outside of the family where the development of children takes place. And as I said before, so we have a very weak social safety net in the United States, right? We have one of the highest rates of child poverty among wealthy nations. We often are working with children with inadequate nutrition, medical care, dental care, which all have an impact on their educational experiences. So, of course, these kinds of issues affect a child's ability to succeed in school and to be able to focus on school. Then the other context that we have right now is all of these changes in educational policy, right? The No Child Left Behind, this emphasis on standards and testing and privatization. So what we have is, rather than an emphasis on kind of the importance of knowledge, we have a much more mechanistic, kind of anti-intellectual definition of education. And Diane Ravitch, with a clip that I've posted on the module, it has an interview with Diane Ravitch, and she's amazing and has done some really interesting work on education in the current context. So I encourage you to read her books and really think about what that context is currently and how does that impact our role as a school social worker. Also, No Child Left Behind has had consequences such as increasing the dropout rate at the high school level, right? Because there's less incentive to keep kids that don't perform as well. I want to have you think about also sort of thinking about that context and thinking about the history. What does a school social worker do, right? So how do we define school social work? What is it? What is unique about it compared to other professionals within a school? What do we do? And so for part of your assignment for today, I will have you reflect on that definition. What are your thoughts about what a school social worker does? How does that fit with the definition? And how do you envision your role as a school social worker? So this list is just some examples of some of the things that a school social worker does. So it's really about some very common kind of universal roles, are the idea of linking, right, the community and the school and the parents. But I think what's important also to think about is your own vision for what the role should be, and how in each school there are some aspects that are very unique because this role is developed by the social worker, the principal, the teachers. So it's really important to go into your setting with a vision of what is possible for a school social worker, right? And really excited about the possibilities of all the different levels of intervention and units of attention and the things that a school social worker can address within that setting, right? So in terms of developing that role, right, you need to have your own vision, as I said, analyzing and assessing your context, and being comfortable with that process of negotiation as you understand the needs of the school, the perspective of the principal, and your own vision. So a lot of your initial work in a school setting sometimes is really kind of elaborating and developing that role and what you're going to be doing. So thinking about role is an important process. Okay, so I'm going to end there just to keep this very brief and have you dig into the readings and your discussion around the role of the school social worker.